Hello all, and welcome back to TechRise. Today is a pretty charged day to be doing this, and admittedly, lots of emotions going through the team today. But I just wanted to make a note of the fact that women and people of color have been historically incredibly resilient in this country, and resilience is one of the most critical features of entrepreneurs. It's one of the reasons that we're able to take the hits and get back up and keep going and doing what we do. And I'm just so incredibly proud to be bringing you 5 fantastic Black men who are doing great work in FinTech, sponsored today by Discover, and presenting to 3 powerhouse women in venture. I can't really actually imagine a better day to have everyone on. So with that, I'm going to just say thank you for being here. We are so excited to support you because the change that this country needs is going to happen when women and people of color are running big companies and have impact and influence. And it starts with the founders who have the courage to do it, like the ones that we're going to see today. So with that, I'm going to welcome our incredible women onto the stage. First, we have Bailey Moore. She's Managing Director of Wintrust Ventures. Bailey is the co-founder of Wintrust Ventures, a Series A venture capital firm that provides capital and strategic resources for companies within the Wintrust footprint. She has a strong attraction to companies with dynamic founding teams and or capital efficient business models. Her strengths are in financial analysis, trend analysis, and applied economics, and she's dedicated to supporting entrepreneurs and management teams of emerging growth companies in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. So thanks so much for being here, Bailey. All right, and next we have Courtney Trunk. She's associate at Motivate Venture Capital. Before Motivate, Courtney was an MBA associate at Chicago Ventures, where she assisted with deal sourcing and investments across a variety of sectors, internal projects and investment strategy refinement, and portfolio company support projects. She also spent time at the West Loop Ventures and a fintech-focused early VC firm in Chicago. And before launching her career, she was vice president at Duff & Phelps and spent 5 years in financial consulting and valuation, working for clients in financial services, technology, and several other industries. And a great partner at karaoke bars, as I've learned. And then our final judge is Megan Hankey, product manager at Ipsulum VC. Megan is a creative and passionate product manager and founder herself with direct experience in optimizing the homepage, navigation, and sales funnels of a video streaming website, as well as using web analytics to monitor traffic and identify acquisition and retention opportunities. Ipsulum focuses on solving high-value problems for people and companies that have the power to create a cultural shift for a more positive future. So we're so excited to have you here too, Megan. All right, and a bit ahead of schedule today, but let's get started with our first founder. We have Anthony Bryant with GiftIt mobile app. I'll let you know when we can see your slides.
Okay.
Looks like you're good to go.
Okay. Hello, my name is Anthony Bryant, co-founder of GiftIt mobile app. Judges, I have a question for you. How many lottery tickets have you purchased and thrown away in your lifetime? I can tell you every ticket that I've bought has ended up in my trash can. What an unfulfilling experience. Then a few years back, the Powerball got up to over $1 billion prize. My co-founder, Maurice, asked me if I had bought a ticket for the $1 billion prize. And I sarcastically said, I made my donation. Maurice took that statement. Together, we created the GiftIt mobile app, peer-to-peer generosity. The truth is nearly all participants in the lottery are merely making donations because there is just about a nanoscopic chance or expectation to receive anything in return. Also, studies show that state-run lotteries disproportionately target low-income people. This is demonstrated by the fact that the poorest third of Americans buy more than half of all lottery tickets. As lottery is marketed as a money investment rather than entertainment, the big winner in lottery is the government. According to North American state and provincial lotteries, government pays out 63% of ticket revenues, then taxes those winnings by 37% that it does pay out. That's 74% of ticket sales, which are consumed by the government. Last year, lottery revenues were $80 billion, supported by 90 million players, which means the government made $59 billion off lottery. Some call it the poor man's tax, and who likes paying taxes? Nobody. GiftIt mobile app wants to eliminate that tax. So what is GiftIt mobile app? GiftIt mobile app is a crowdfunding platform that hosts daily donation drives that randomly selects a user to be gifted by the whole group. Much like Uber and Airbnb, GiftIt provides a peer-to-peer interaction, eliminating the middleman and making giving a more efficient and transparent transaction. Instead of playing the government game of lottery and making donations to Uncle Sam, we want to provide an alternative where people can make donations directly to their fellow gifted users. The gifters feel better about where their donation has gone, and the giftee can enjoy the donations tax-free. So here's how it works. From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., users can make pledges of $1. At 7 p.m., the GiftIt platform blockchain algorithm randomly selects a giftee of the day. The platform notifies all participants of today's giftee. Then it's up to each individual user to donate their dollar to the giftee. Go-to-market and traction. So right now, me and my co-worker or co-founder have invested $30,000 to build and promote the app. We're in a pre-launch stage. We've contracted Gafton to build the app. We're currently in beta testing. We've contracted iLocal Hero, a Chicago digital marketing agency, to promote GMA on a digital platform. And I can tell you, we've talked to hundreds of potential users who are excited about the opportunity to use the app. Competitive landscape and how we monetize. State-operated lotteries are our competitors we're aiming to disrupt. The GMA platform is an application aimed at letting people participate in chance outcomes in a more favorable way. We feel our value proposition is just superior. People feel better about giving to an individual rather than a government agency. And we were able to do that without paying a tax. How we monetize. GMA would charge an administrator 15% to host the donation drives on the platform. How we use the funds? With $25,000, we'd be able to build out the rest of the features on the app, like limited geographical locations. We pay for promotions. We strengthen the back end of the business with legal, accounting, administrative services, and a percentage of the revenues will go to Gamblers Anonymous and educate the lottery misuse. So don't play Uncle Sam's game, gift it instead. Thank you.
Good job, Anthony. Sorry, I was going to cut you off, but you got it. Okay, yeah. Judges will bring you back on. You can go ahead and turn off your presentation. All right, Bailey, you want to kick us off with a question?
Sure. Thanks for the presentation. I'm wondering, do you envision taking custody of the donations, or how does the cash work?
Right. So are you familiar with GoFundMe? So GoFundMe actually, they basically set up an escrow, and that's what we would do. We don't actually take, I guess, ownership of the money. It would set up an escrow account, and then it would go directly to the giftee.
Got it. And you would take that up top, the fee, the 15%.
Correct.
So I assume if I am donating my dollar, I'm doing it in the beginning of the day, right? You're not then sending me a push notification to then deposit my donation?
Right. So what it would start out as, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you make a pledge of $1. Then at 7 p.m., you get a notification of the giftee, and you see their profile. And, we can put on their profile kind of what they would use the funds for. And at that time, yes, that's the time you'd make your dollar donation to that individual.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Courtney?
Yeah, I sort of had a follow-up since you mentioned GoFundMe. So in the presentation, you mentioned your main competitor, you're going against the lottery, but how do you view yourself in position to GoFundMe and other kind of crowdfunding platforms?
Right. So GoFundMe, you typically have a cause, right? So we feel like we're GoFundMe for everyone. I think everyone has a cause.
Got it. Okay.
All right, Megan.
And I guess since lottery is so widespread known and we're competing with such bigger known entities, like what would be your marketing or advertising plan to introduce this to like larger groups of people to get them on board?
Right. So right now our strategy is mainly social media. So we're aiming at people who follow on Instagram, lottery, state lotteries, basically. So we're going to be aiming at promoting this to those people who actually follow or are interested in participating in lotteries anyway. So that's going to be our main goal.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We do have time for one more question. Does anyone have another one?
I have one more, just more clarifying.
Sure.
Is it just $1 a day per person? That's the limiter as far as
it's limiting. So we don't want people to abuse this, right? So we're aiming at, so that the idea was that, when I was growing up, I saw people participating in the lottery to like I said, to the point where it was more like an investment for them. And, the idea is to make it not as something where people spend a lot of their money in. So we want to limit it in that way, but also where people can experience chance outcomes and donate to somebody directly. So that's the idea behind it. I don't know if did I answer your question or?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Anthony, great job. Thanks so much. And judges, you can go back off screen while we welcome Vernon Gair from Flair Financial Systems onto the platform. And Vernon, I'll let you know when we can see your screen. Looking good, you just need to go off mute.
Awesome. As Desiree mentioned, I'm Vernon and I'm the founder and CEO of Flair. At Flair, we help nonprofits manage donor restricted dollars. The business of philanthropy is getting increasingly complex. Today's donors give to causes and outcomes rather than organizations. For instance, when I give to U Chicago, I specifically give to the Booth Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Fund. For me, this is as simple as a choice and a drop down. But for principal gifts, the Polskis, Restandis, and Booths of the world, along with their names on the door, they establish a grant agreement with the university that dictates when and how their gifts can be used. Nonprofits manage this using fund accounting. So this is the standard for nonprofits that accounts for not only how money is being spent, but whose money is being spent as well. Organizations the size of U Chicago have systems and headcount in place to manage this, but for smaller nonprofits, there aren't great tools in the market to do so. What happens in practice is the nonprofit finance team sits in the middle of a game of telephone between the fundraising team that spoke directly to the donor and the program team that's out actually executing the program. They then have the responsibility to make sure money moves as it was intended. And this is done by reconciling a number of point solutions within the organization in spreadsheets that are largely Excel documents and Google Sheets held together by paper clips and bubble gum. This is a time-consuming, tedious process that's subject to human error. I know because I lived this earlier in my career. Flair solves this for the nonprofit by consolidating all their financial information into a single source of truth. With Flair, our customers can build and approve program budgets as early as the grant proposal process. We then embed financial features to segregate funds in virtual wallets and issue cards and payment methods directly at the program level. They also can use us to build and improve transaction approval workflows, automate their accounting and financial reporting. Essentially, we're building a spend management solution for the nonprofit industry. As you know, developments in FinTech infrastructure have now made it possible to embed financial features in software, and you see a new category of companies, spend management, coming to market. We're looking to be the spend management solution for the nonprofit industry to solve the fund accounting problem. In monetizing transactions, as opposed to simply selling software, we're able to create a large revenue opportunity serving nonprofits. Nonprofits spend about $2.5 trillion annually, but that's a wide market, and we're specifically targeting operating public charities, those that actually deliver services as opposed to make grants from $1 to $100 million in revenue. We go to these customers with a freemium offering where our core offering at the lowest tier is simple transactions, and there we are principally monetizing interchange on card spend. But as our customers grow, we'll offer them premium features for financial reporting, for custom reporting, as well as custom workflows. We have the team in place to make this a reality. I know this pain point very well, having spent roughly 10 years in the nonprofit industry as a finance professional. And I'm joined by Josh, our VP of Tech, who directly before this was working in systems integration engineering. We're early in our journey and proud of our progress to date. We formally started the business in January, and thus far we're working with a cohort of 5 design partners to make sure our core software offering and those dashboards work to meet their needs. We're spending the rest of the year on developing our FinTech features, and the proceeds from TechRise will allow us to accelerate hiring on the engineering side and bring on some consulting capacity for BSA AML compliance and other FinTech legal aspects. Again, we are Flare FS, and we help nonprofits manage donor-restricted dollars.
Great job, Vernon. Judges, you can come back on, and Courtney, we're going to start with you.
Great, thank you so much. Quick question that you probably have experience given your background, but in my experience, nonprofits don't have the most sophisticated tech stack. So how do you think about go-to-market and kind of convincing your buyers that this is something they should use?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the nonprofit that doesn't have the most sophisticated tech stack, we integrate directly into their accounting information system. Think how brexrantbill.com integrates with their workflow. So we would, be a very quick implementation in that we're pulling directly from their existing accounting system, and then the money movement we can ping directly to their existing bank and treasury, as opposed to requiring them to move money to us. That's at scale. We are starting with prepaid card program as we move to credit, but we believe that this is a pretty quick implementation and a bolt-on, as opposed to displacing anything that's currently in place.
Got it. And quick follow-up to that, will that be, obviously you guys are early, but do you envision it being you guys kind of go in and help them set up integrations, or will it be more of a self-service model in the future? Yeah,
we envision as a self-serve for the smallest customers, those that aren't paying for the premium features. This is going to be self-serve. You connect via our Intuit integration and take it from there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Megan, you want to go next?
Sure. I guess just as far as so early, what have you done to show the demand, or what kind of customers and why they need this?
Yeah, absolutely. So before we wrote a single line of code, we spent the first quarter talking to a number of nonprofit finance teams. Having been in the industry, it's easy enough to get in touch with folks. So we spoke to 40 organizations, with some speaking just to the operations team. Others, we spoke to the executive directors and finance teams as well. And again, we're currently working with design partners who are using us for those financial reporting aspects, but we have not yet got into any money movement or touch their flow of funds as of yet.
Got it. And just a teeny tiny quick follow-up, again, since it's early, what would be your 2 to 3 major milestones in your first 6 months as you develop the product?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're currently, we think about the rest of the year, a particular product milestone with each quarter. This quarter, we are getting the SaaS to a place where it's a lot more self-service, as opposed to me building the reports for them. Third quarter, we'll have our card issuance product live and ready for alpha testing. And in the fourth quarter, that's when we'll get to actual virtual accounts and third-party payments, ACH, wire, and check.
Haley.
Thanks for the presentation. I'm wondering how the card product ties into the automated spend management SaaS platform. They seem kind of siloed away from each other. Why are those two the first offerings?
Yeah, absolutely. So we think about this in that the core value that we're creating is that organizations can better segregate their funds and make sure that they are able to allocate and attribute their expenses to the funding. So we think about it as a virtual wallet. If I'm the program manager for the vaccine outreach program, I'm going to create virtual cards that are spending on behalf of vaccine outreach, so that there's no chance that I'm commingling, starting to spend unrestricted funding or dipping into a pot that is larger than what my program has raised for its activities.
Got it. And just a quick market question. How many NFPs are there that have finance teams? Like you said, you've met with 40. Like, how big is that market? I know you just know a little bit, but.
So can you clarify which market specifically?
How big's the market for, kind of call it 0 to 100 million?
Yeah.
With
absolutely. Yeah, so we do think that outsourced accounting firms are going to be a channel for us for partnership. So
Okay,
having a
I'm sorry, I got to cut us off. I was like, I'm going to give him 5 extra seconds, but we're at time, so I got to go. But you can follow up the answer in the chat if you'd like. All right,
Absolutely.
Vernon, great job. Next, we're going to invite Bubala Odebi. I didn't think I said that right. I should have checked before, but tell me the right way to say it. Will you say it? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, you said it right. Bubala Odebi.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I will let you know when we can see your presentation.
Okay, sounds good. Can you see my screen? All right, sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Bubala Odebi. I'm the founder and CEO of CrossCudi. CrossCudi is a decentralized international money transfer platform for the 47 million plus immigrants in the US. I'm originally from Nigeria. I moved to the US about 12 years ago. I lived in Chicago and drove taxi while I was living in Chicago. So, and I moved from there to going back to school to become a certified public accountant, working at PwC before focusing full-time on CrossCudi. Being an immigrant in the US, I have experienced the pain points of sending money across borders to support families. Today, when an immigrant sends money across borders, they can lose up to 30% of the funds that they sent. That is true due to the high transfer fees and the poor conversion rates on the current platforms. It can also take up to 7 business days for the recipients to receive the funds. Many of the times when an immigrant sends money to support families, it's usually for an emergency use, which means they cannot wait for 7 business days to pay groceries, to buy groceries. They cannot wait for 7 business days to pay hospital bills or rent due. And so with my experience in the financial industry and my exposure to blockchain technology, I was able to create a solution to eliminate burdensome transfer fees and enable individuals to send money across borders without paying fees. We provided a free money transfer service, and the recipients receive the funds instantly so that they can quickly pay rent due, buy groceries, and or pay hospital bills. So we were able to conduct a quick proof of concept where senders will send money. A fund provider in the receiving country immediately accept the fund transfer request and process it and send out receipts. And at the end of the week, the fund provider receives get reimbursed the money that they provided and plus commission. The service market huge. I mean, more than $700 billion annually is the cross-border payments for individual remittances. And in the US today, like I said, there's more than 47 million plus immigrants in the US. Initially, we are looking to serve the US to India and Nigeria corridor before expanding into other markets. And our business model, we generate revenue from the spread in the exchange rates. The current platforms, in addition to generating revenue from the spread in the exchange rates, they also take, they also make money from the high transfer fees that they charge. This is our go-to-market strategy. From the proof of concept that we conducted, we saw that a lot of people were, like referring other people to use the solution through the word of mouth. So we're definitely going to also leverage that. And in addition to that, we'll introduce referral cash rewards so that when they refer the next person, they both make $5 towards their next transaction after the referee utilize a platform for the first time. And we'll also be utilizing social media marketing and other forms of marketing strategy as well, which includes targeted PR and our partners, referrals as well. Let me put it that way. So today, like I said, our competitors, in addition to charging high transfer fees and slow delivery. On CrossCudi, we have a key differentiator. CrossCudi is not just trying to create just another international money transfer platform, but we are enabling passive income opportunities for locals in the receiving countries, and which none of our competitors are enabling today. This is, giving people an opportunity to participate in the global financial economy.
Good job, so I've got to bring the judges on because you're at the 4 minutes. So judges, you want to come on? You can cover some of these other questions in the Q&A. And Megan, can you kick us off?
Sure, and I might have missed this, so I apologize. But for the how are you eliminating fees, and how are the payments secured?
Yes, so because we are utilizing blockchain technology and local individuals in the receiving countries, we are able to avoid some of the costs that the current platforms are exposed to, which would have been and which they part, and because we are avoiding this cost, we are able to avoid provide a fee-free money transfer service to them and quickly fulfill the remittances.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bailey?
So something like this requires quite a bit of density on both the families in Nigeria and in the United States. So if all the stars align and you raise your pre-seed funding, how do you plan on building that density from a consumer base standpoint?
Yeah, so if I understand your question, do you mean how do we plan to reach more folks, acquire more customers?
Two very different geographies, so you have two different stands, but you also have to have an overlap in that somebody's your family member or them or whatever.
Yes, so like I mentioned, let me just use Nigeria for an example. In the US today, there's more than 500,000 Nigerians living in the US, and they send money back home very frequently, on an average of $350 that they send money and that they send back home, and some people even send every week or at least twice in a month. So because of that, always looking for an opportunity where they can have an efficient way to send money back home. So with that experience that I've gained, that's why we're creating CrossCudi, where they can send money back home for free. And we know, and with the proof of concept that we have conducted, people are referring other people that they know. Like right now, we have gathered more than 250 families on our wait list, and that's just through the word of mouth.
All right, Courtney, I'm going to go to the next question. So you have 1 minute.
This might be a little more technical, and I apologize if I missed it too, but if I understand correctly, in the flow of funds, there's still a middle party who has to approve the transfer. Is that correct?
Yes, so that's our key differentiator. When Uber or Lyft came out, right, they didn't just start another taxi company. They brought a different dynamic into the taxi industry, and so that's what CrossCudi is doing. Today, our competitors are centralized. They use a centralized system where it's banks that do the disbursement of the payments, which slows down the delivery of the funds. But by quickly, by enabling individuals to participate in the remittance process, they can quickly fulfill the remittance and allow. So that's how we're able to quickly fulfill the remittances and provide a fee-free money transfer service to the senders and instant delivery of the funds to their recipients.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bubala, great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And next, we're going to invite Bryan Pierson with EDURain. Or EDURain, sorry.
Okay.
We can see it.
Awesome. Give me 0.5. 0.5 for it to come up. All right. Hi, I'm Bryant. I grew up in the foster care system. I went to college and worked full-time just to make ends meet. I worked hard so that despite all odds stacked against me, I could graduate with a 4-year degree. Now imagine after all that hustling, I walked across the stage to receive my ticket to escape poverty with $60,000 in student debt. Well, today, the average student in the US accumulates $30,000 in debt over their 4 years. According to Bloomberg, 50% of college students struggle with finding a house and paying for it. And colleges aren't helping them. 20% of the total student population is only being housed by the colleges every year. There's no university-supported off-campus housing services geared towards undergraduate students. Meanwhile, $2.6 billion in financial aid goes unclaimed because the process is convoluted and for-profit companies are shunned by students who want free services. Knowing this, we created a student-centered housing platform with tools that fund their education called EDURain.org. Our student-centered platform has a housing search similar to apartments.com. We offer services curated to help out student leasers. Our credit building partnerships helps them build credit through rent reporting. And we have a partner that offers renters insurance. Meanwhile, our scholarship search engine has a database of 20,000 scholarships for our users to build a budget. So how it works? A student logs onto our platform and searches for housing. After they find and sign a lease, they purchase our lease affiliated services and generate $66 in partnership commission for us. As a landlord, you list your properties on our website for free. Once we place a student into your property, we're earning a commission of $50 per student. We have a $1.6 billion marketplace on the landlord side made of listing fees and commission on renter placement. And we have a potential market of $1.3 billion for our student side through leasing services like our credit building program, renters insurance, and tenant background checks. We are hiring students as sales agents, targeting social media channels as we work with college classrooms on market research projects. Our customer acquisition costs, we think per student is going to be $22. And then on the landlord side, it's $20. After testing various different business models in the first half of 2022, we recently deployed our current model. In our first week of deployment, we signed up 10 landlords and 30 students and completed 1 sale. We have built EDURain with the goal of targeting students, which we realized by hiring students and creating student-specific features. On the landlord side, we offer our customers a pay-per-tenant lease signing only model. Our roadmap includes AI machine learning for better housing matching. We recently won a $10,000 grant to do a full pilot at Washington University in St. Louis this fall. We've raised $130,000 and reached finalist status for funds around America. With TechRise funding, we'll be able to hire 3 student ambassadors and 2 student developers and extend our runway 6 months further and expand to 2 more universities, St. Louis University, SIUE, and we expect to place 500 renters by the end of 22. EDURain is by students for students who struggle to pay for school or know someone that did. Half of us have built startups before, and we mentor by expert advisors from Cloudflare, Zennier, and the head of rentals at Realtor.com. According to Bloomberg, the US has a housing crisis. A crisis is exacerbated at the college level. If we are successful long-term, we'll increase the capacity of low-income students to complete their degree, help students build credit, and reduce the inequality of hardship. EDURain is positioned to be the tipping point to helping students succeed in school. Thank you very much.
Great job, Bryan. All right, so let's have the judges come back on and we're going to start with Bailey.
Thanks for the presentation. So if I'm hearing correctly, your edge is that you have this scholarship search integration by which if I'm a student and I'm looking for housing, I can also look up scholarships that could then like effectively subsidize my housing that I couldn't otherwise afford. Is that it?
That is one edge. The second edge is we have a lot of relationships in the secondary high schools and colleges where professors and high school teachers are doing free market research projects and examining our platform and getting their students to our platform as well, because it's free. Most scholarship platforms cost money or they're selling your data to somebody. So because of that, the target audience is building it, it grows our user base.
Got it. Thank you.
Megan.
Oops, I couldn't find the mute. So very interesting with the roommate match program on there too, and just really central, like focusing on student searched housing. Is there any sort of safety check as it relates to like the criteria for both students and landlords when they're looking and potentially being matched with a stranger or a house that they're not sure what it's like?
So yeah, I mean, the background checks eliminates, criminals. Second, a lot of these kids are on financial aid, and if in order to get financial aid in America through FAFSA and stuff like that, you can't have felonies. So that eliminates that as well. And then three, a lot of kids that are looking for housing, they're going into their second year. That means they've already been on campus for a little bit of time. Now, for graduate students, having a platform, our student ambassadors, that's their job. They own a territory, they own a college. So they have some kind of know-withal within that community as well. We actually are stopping students from getting scammed every day by being the platform, that having a student ambassador, being the representative before the student and the landlord.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. So you have a lot going on here, which is amazing, like a lot of things that students can benefit from. Oftentimes we see with some of our early stage portfolio companies, they have a lot of things they offer, but they really need to have like one killer feature or one killer hook in terms of like messaging and customer acquisition. So what would you say you think that is for you guys, or what's resonating most when you're kind of pitching to customers?
So yeah, I mean, we are a rental placement platform that is servicing students. So that's why we hire the student ambassador. Their job is we call students consumers and we call landlords customers. So they spend 60% of their time on consumers and 40% of their time on customers, making sure that the marketplace works on renter placement. And we make money on both sides. Not by charging the student anything, by the lease affiliated services, tenant background checks, renter's insurance, and that credit building program. They can build credit on campus with us. So we can help them out before they even get ready to move off campus. And then their credit building growing, the opportunities they can live off campus. There's a housing shortage right now. So that roommate match brings them together so they can quickly get into an apartment. Because otherwise you're trying to get that housing and you're trying to get the roommates together and that house comes off the market.
And do you guys pre-vet the landlords too?
So we're using the Maris database, which is a database of realtors and stuff in the St. Louis area. And those realtors are vetting the landlords for us.
Okay, got it.
We don't have to do that because we're baked into the ecosystem of real estate.
Cool, thanks.
You have 20 more seconds in case there's anything else you want to add.
I'm gonna say this. There's more professors that are offering free market research classes for us every semester because we have one of the best student development programs. We have kids that work for us that work on Wall Street, that are software engineers at Amazon, at US Bank, and work at major consulting firms. So this is a business, but it's also developing students at the same time.
Great job, Bryan. Thank you so much. And last but definitely not least, we have Bill Allen with Econofi. All right, we can see it. I'm ready when you are.
Have you ever helped someone with their banking chores? Aunt Maggie would have me write out her bills. She was very particular, only wanting to use money orders and not personal checks. She had banking accounts, but her bank is a 20-minute drive. The check cashing store was around the corner. She's one of many people that use high-cost alternative financial services that populate communities, spending $127 billion annually on fees and interest, and $4 billion annually on check cashing and bill pay. Reasons for using these services vary. For Aunt Maggie, it's convenience. For others, it's need. Like Mateo, an immigrant, he's told that without a social security number, it's difficult to open an account. Or Leo, he's unable to pass a bank background check. They, along with 46.5 million adults in the US, are known as the underbanked and unbanked. The unbanked have long been overlooked, resulting in a complex relationship strained by three major barriers. One, unable to meet minimum bank balance requirements. Two, lack of credit history leaves them invisible to banks. And three, they simply don't trust banks. Removing these barriers requires a large network. Partnering with community banks can provide that network. They are well positioned for outreach, but they typically lack product innovation and technology staff. So we are using neobank technology to build a white label platform for community banks to offer these financial services. Low fee check cashing of payroll and government checks, low fee money orders, Leo. Checking with no minimum, no fees, a debit card or secured credit card, also Leo. Alternative ID verification, that's Mateo. A full-featured mobile app and financial literacy education, Aunt Maggie, all customers, and checking, savings, and credit cards. We will operate as a B2B transactional business funded by interchange fees and not service or overdraft fees. Why would community banks invest in the underbanked and unbanked? According to an FDIC study, 83% of community banks do not have an in-house credit card portfolio. They utilize affiliate bank relationships, but they're essentially giving away the customer, the balance sheet diversification, the loan interest, and the interchange fees. Interchange is the why. Interchange is the revenue engine for community banks to onboard underbanked and unbanked customers. And interchange creates other opportunities. We use channel partner APIs to wrap credit products around credit cards to offer buy now, pay later, rapid small business lending, and healthcare payment lending to compete with neobanks. Our go-to-market strategy is to target banks with a Community Reinvestment Act rating of needs to improve and substantial noncompliance. We expect to enroll 12 banks and onboard 100,000 credit and debit card customers within 6 months, representing monthly recurring revenue of $4 million. Many companies are targeting the underbanked. One company that launched in 2013 has achieved considerable success. But Econofi is positioned to compete on the strength of our innovation, product innovation for the underbanked and unbanked. Product learning was achieved and accomplished in a 6-week pre-accelerator program. We are currently in product building and plan to soft launch Q1 of 2023. Our executive team has nearly a century of successes in financial software development and business operations. I'm Bill Allen, CEO, CTO, and co-founder of Econofi. Each of us has been a small business owner in software consulting, advertising media, and data science, respectively. And each of us has an Aunt Maggie. Mateo and Leo are friends. We understand their challenges. We want to thank TechRise for the opportunity. If selected, funds will be used to offset channel partner infrastructure costs to build an MVP. We hope you understand the need to elevate the underbanked and unbanked to first-class financial citizens. Our unique paradigm, empowering community banks with neobank technology, will accelerate this effort. Thank you for your time today.
Great job, Bill. Courtney, can you kick us off?
Yeah, thank you. That was a great presentation. We meet with a lot of companies trying to sell into these like community bank, credit union customer bases, and it's just very challenging, like uphill battle. They're, as you mentioned, not very sophisticated, and they kind of have a short list of top priorities. So great to hear that you already have some interested, but what have some of your customer conversations been like in terms of how badly they need this product? And then what are some of your kind of go-to-market strategies for more widespread kind of growth and expansion?
So several questions there. Let me take
sorry.
first. Go-to-market strategy. Again, we looked at an opportunity of targeting banks that had a Community Reinvestment Act ratings that were really very low, need to improve, or substantial noncompliance. With those ratings, they're basically unable to open other branches. So it's a nudge. You may not want to do this, but if you in fact take on this opportunity of serving this community, it actually benefits you to be able to complete your financial perspective in terms of growing your business. We also show them how with interchange, they can really make money from this. It's actually riskless for them to move into the space. And you have to repeat the first two questions that you asked us.
Just how have some of your initial customer conversations gone and how pressing do they say this is of an issue for them?
Okay, really good question. Initially, we pitched this as a B to B to C product where we were going directly for the underbanked. But as we began to have those conversations, we saw how difficult it is to solve this problem. That's why I said we need a large network to solve the problem. And unlike many of the neobanks that have a one-to-one relationship with a community bank where they take the front end of the BPS, the BIPs, and give the community bank a small portion, we're saying we'll do a reasonable split where you all can make money, this platform can make money, but we need the community resources that you have at hand because you're experts in your community. Community banks actually are really good in the community.
I want to make sure everyone gets a question in.
Yeah,
So,
sorry, long question.
No worries. Megan, can you go next?
Yes, of course. Kind of just piggybacking off of that, but the 3 pillars that you kind of brought up in a slide that shows why there's been resistance. How do you plan to kind of overcome that, like introducing still like a banking product to someone that doesn't trust?
Oh, that's really good. One of the products that we're going to, the first 2 products that we're going to offer that really helps to build trust are to allow unbanked to come into a community bank and cash their payroll checks, easy to verify, and their government checks, easy to verify. So there's little or no opportunity for fraud on those. They can cash them at competitive market rates, which are still cheaper than the check cashing stores. At the same time, they can turn around and get money orders at a very, very inexpensive rate. They're able now to eliminate the costs that they had with the check cashing stores that they were previously spending time with. The next tier is who knows the community better than community banks?
Sorry, I want to let Bailey ask one last question if she has one, or you can let him keep going, either way.
My only question is I work for a community bank and we famously have a tech stack. Well, Wintrust doesn't, but some banks of the size we were talking about that is made of rubber bands and Band-Aids. So
Aaron cut us off. I let us go a little bit over, but I should have managed the first one a little bit better, but hopefully you guys can answer it over chat. But actually the judges do have to go into another room. So you probably can't answer unless you type it really fast. But judges go slowly into the deliberation room. They have the unenviable job of having to decide who wins today, $25,000. Great job, Bill. And with that, I'm going to invite our guest speakers today from Discover. So we have Syed Ahmed and Robert Allen from Discover joining us. So instead of reading your bios, do each of you want to take a minute and introduce yourselves? Does that work? Okay, Syed, do you want to go first?
Sure. Thanks, Desiree, for having us on. I'm Syed Ahmed. I'm a director with Discover, where I focus on a team that really brings in innovation and new advanced analytics use cases into our operating systems. And my background before that is I was a consultant with McKinsey, and I have metals and mining experience from large industrial manufacturers. Robert, to you.
First of all, those are fantastic presentations, just out of this park. So I'm a director on the MarTech side. We're developing products to deliver more engaging customer-facing content. Previous to this, I was working at Amazon, and I started my career 8 years doing my own business, running a few of my own shops, as well as doing student startup consulting.
Great. So you have some startup backgrounds here. Probably have some advice for these founders. They were incredible, weren't they? I mean, this year, the TechRise competitors have just been so prepared and have really brought their A game. So it makes the judging difficult, but we're very grateful for your partnership and the ability to award these founders this great startup money. Of course, they need significantly more. But so I guess, like, how would you kind of recommend to founders that they kind of launch fast and improve their time to market?
Yeah. You mind if I go first? All right, so the number one rule for me is talk to your customers fast and often. And the old Henry Ford quote of, if you ask your customers what they want, they'll say a faster horse. It's not about what they say they want. It's about the pain points specifically. Listen to the subtext. What are they really dealing with? And their real lived experience, because you're going to develop a solution that may not be exactly what the rest of the market says. It may not be what you thought it was when you started. So being aware of what your customers are really looking for so you can build the right solution to solve their pain points is really key, I've found.
Anything to add there, Syed?
Yeah, thanks. So maybe one perspective I'll add from my experience with large corporations, right, is that the large corporations struggle to go to market too. And this is where startups like the ones we're seeing today, which I'll talk a bit about how many awesome topics you guys are hitting. It's pretty cool. Can be like you guys are like superheroes, because large corporations, for us to pivot, it takes a bit. Like, we have a lot of inertial mass, and really where if we can partner with a startup to like be hyper-focused in one area, like the hook we talked about today, it complements really well for us. So again, building on what Robert's saying, like understanding pain points, but you can think about understanding pain points from a customer's lens, or if you were looking to partner with larger organizations, their pain points as well. And you really bring a very nice complement in terms of capabilities by being small and by being hyper-focused. So just keep that in mind as well.
That's great advice, especially, not all businesses are designed to IPO, right? Some of them can have a fantastic exit, create many, many millions, tens of millions of dollars for the founders, if they kind of stay focused and have M&A in mind all along. And I was told, I always go off script, so I'm just going to apologize in advance, but something that you both said that really resonates with me as a two-time founder, but also who tries to bring that now into the nonprofit sector, is that, design thinking is so much about, right, customer discovery, but sometimes we forget to think about all the other stakeholders who benefit when we win. And if we bring that into the earliest phases of design and a kind of a stakeholder-centric design, we can actually build with big corporate partners in mind from the very beginning and think about what those exit paths and opportunities are. So I did want to add that in for a second. Okay, so what about like go-to-market approach? So, you've done the discovery, you've listened to some of the pain points, you're building in the right direction, but go-to-market, when you're under-resourced, can be incredibly difficult. So.
Absolutely. And it's important not to get stuck on what your 5-year plan is. I from my last answer, you have a lot to learn about your customers as you go through. Your assumptions may change. And so what I've found is if you build for the 5-year plan, you may get halfway down here, run out of runway, and you end up not building your company. Right. So it's important to build fast and quickly get to market. So instead of building something bespoke, get something on WordPress. Right. If you want to get customers engaged, get them engaged on day one so that you can start driving that revenue, because you don't need all your features built out to prove that you have a good model. You just need a customer giving you money to prove that your model works.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's right. Go ahead. Add on to that side.
I don't want to miss an opportunity to kind of like build on what you said about building some different partners in mind. I thought that was a great comment, and maybe just kind of like some examples of like how you could also think about, building fast, but having sort of this longer view. So some cool things that I started seeing was like Byron, your presentation around like housing with students, right? Like think about how useful that data would be for like a credit organization later on to think about, how to think about those folks, or perhaps, Bill, your work around, the underbanked, like you're tackling a really tough problem. So like having structures in that data, like doing simple things early to just think about usability of that data later on can be really powerful to scale the impact of what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I mean, to Courtney's point too earlier that, it's better to focus on one thing and get really good at it. But you have to, entrepreneurship is like a chess game, and you have to be ready to think several moves ahead, right? For your competitors, for your potential partners, but also emerging technologies, right? The introduction of Plaid into, financial services and banking was a huge win for startups, because suddenly all these things that had to be negotiated and done by themselves could be kind of orchestrated through a single platform. And so, I don't know what the next version of Plaid is going to be, but maybe you guys have some insight into some of the categories that might be, ripe for integration that are going to speed things up. Don't know. Or not. I can move on to the next question. Syed, do you want to talk a little bit more about how like larger organizations are working to transform? Like, traditionally we've thought that big corporate is slow and startups are fast, but as M&A happens and startup teams go into corporate, I'm assuming that they have some influence in the speed that you are doing.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll kind of build on what I started talking about, right? Where it's like there's this sort of complement we have of skills with large organizations and small, like fast moving, nimble startups. And so M&A is like maybe a classic one. I'll maybe share a few other perspectives so you see, hey, there's a lot of ways we can leverage each other. Specifically, like with Discover, these are the things that we work with. Like day to day, like we work a lot with thinking about how to use data from startups. So there's like data focused startups. There's like specific technology focused startups. So we do engage with folks regularly to just use their products, and they can go IPO, they can go any which way, but they become like great partners for us to really kind of think and evolve, and that provides great feedback for them too in terms of like using our expertise in their product as well to kind of evolve them. A couple other things that we have also started, intriguingly sort of approaching is there's talent startups that are looking at how bringing, especially from underrepresented populations, like, it's not just about the network of folks that are there, but how do you like inject more folks into technology? Like technology just needs more people, right? And there's talent startups that are looking at retraining folks, kind of with them in the mid funnel. And we also have like a technology talent accelerator to get folks, through the system a lot faster as well. So those all of those things are great ways of engaging and thinking about partnering with larger organizations to help us transform.
It is such an excellent point. We often think of our exit paths as being, who is tangentially related that's going to, be augmented by whatever it is that we're building. And sometimes forgetting that the audience that we're building is incredibly valuable to kind of a seemingly unrelated industry, or the team that we've built is incredibly valuable, and kind of the acqui-hire route early on is a great way to engage. So great point to bring up. So, I mean, do you guys have some trends that you've noticed in FinTech that startups should be aware of? Anything that you want to call out?
Yeah, I'll take one, and Robert, feel free to build on this. Is that you guys are like today's presentation? I was really like excited about because you guys are building on a lot of cool things that are out there. But the big ones, at least, so these are just some things that I've focused on lately, right? There's a number of trends in the market. And FinTech is broad, it includes a lot of things, but I'll focus on lending. But within some of the lending space, AI, ML, these machine learning algorithms for decisioning, like it's going to be very compliance driven. They're static learning models, so they're very specific. But then there's operational things, kind of like the nonprofit cash management pitch today, right? But we also have challenges in terms of how we manage our flows, and so some of those things apply. But using machine learning in better ways within our organization is a huge trend, as well as data. I talked about that a bit. Just think about different data sources that keep emerging and integrating those and using them better. The couple other trends, maybe buy now, pay later. Some folks hit on that, and then also blockchain technologies. And I saw somebody hit on that as well. So you guys are hitting in the right spots, and those are definitely like hot topics.
Thanks, Robert. Anything to add?
No, I'm really excited about the future of blockchain as we're going through this sort of reimagining of the system. There seems to be a lot of flux where some of the lower quality products are going down and some of the new innovations are still coming up. And it's an exciting world that we're moving into. And I'm not sure how the future of blockchain and NFT is going to fit into the future, but I mean, the gentlemen on the call are definitely going to be leading the way. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it is. It's a topic that it's mainstream in the media, but not necessarily mainstream in our minds in terms of how it can be used. And I think what will end up happening is likely it'll be kind of under the radar, things that we don't even understand where it's happening. But you all and the founders that are here today, as a non-FinTech founder myself, will be the ones to solve it, fortunately. It looks like the judges are pretty close, so we might only have a question for one or two. But Robert, I know that you had some strong views around pricing and pricing confidence, and not strong views, but a perspective to bring in. Pricing is actually one of the biggest challenges and where we spend a lot of money testing as entrepreneurs. So I'm curious what you have to share there.
Yeah, well, pricing is an interesting topic because nobody wants to tell you how much they're willing to spend. Nobody wants to tell you what the problem is actually worth, but it comes back to having those conversations with your customers about the various pain points and getting a dollar amount on that. And I want to go tangential here because it's also about driving those first sales, because your first few sales, they're not necessarily going to be at your final price, and that's okay. You just need to get validation that your model is right. As you grow, you can change your pricing. That's perfectly valid, but it's about finding out what the actual pain point is worth to solve for these customers. Are you saving 7 headcount for them? That has, based on what their salaries are, a real dollar amount that you can charge. So it's about that subtext in customer conversations.
Absolutely. And how do you recommend people test that?
I mean, it's really about getting out there. The main thing about being an entrepreneur is sales. You're a salesman first. Everything else is secondary. The first thing is being a salesman. And if you don't have those skills, get someone in and learn everything you can from them, because it will lead the way for the rest of your career.
I completely agree. I even talk to my kids about it. Like, you have to learn how to write so that you can learn how to pitch, because everything is pitching pretty much. And this year we actually have had our founders do 2 pitch frameworks instead of just 1. And I think it's really showing in the quality of these pitches, although many of them came in very well prepared in the first place. But I believe the judges are back. So Syed and Robert, thank you guys so much for your support. And thank you for spending time with our founders today, and have a wonderful weekend. And I see the rest of the crew coming back. So if everyone wants to come back on, video on, and unmuted, founders and judges, and we will hear who the winner is today. And who's announcing? Courtney.
All right, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for pitching today. You all did a great job solving very important problems, and it seems like everyone's kind of getting some traction and some footing. So I'm excited to follow everyone's companies along. It was kind of unanimous on the judges' end, which I heard was a surprising, maybe a first time, but Bryon from EDURain is the winner today. We both, or all 3 of us, Bailey had to hop off, but we all felt very compelled by your pitch. Strong founder market fit, initial signs of product market fit, solving a very real and acute pain point for a lot of people in this country. So thank you for the pitch, and we look forward to, again, seeing your progress.
Bryon, you want to say a few words?
We have been rejected so much by so many funds across America, and these professors are revolting against funders rejecting us and are signing up each semester to bring their classrooms to work with us. And we are the most popular internship at Washington University in St. Louis. Every semester when we have a paid internship, hundreds of kids apply for it. And we are going to take this money and we're going to go to the moon with these student ambassadors and these student developers. Adam can get paid. He's our developer that's a grad student that showed up 2 weeks ago, was like, I don't care what I get paid. I don't care if you can't pay us, I'm going to work. And we're going to pay him. So we're just, thank you.
We're happy to hear that. Congrats, Adam.
Yes. And thank you, all of you. On a tough day, you all were a bright, shining light of hope for the future of this country. And I'm so honored to have had you on the TechRise stage. Verizon, thank you. And Stephen, as always, for your support. Judges, thank you for spending time with our incredible founders today. Congratulations to EDURain. And then to the rest of you guys, you know that you're welcome back anytime on TechRise, and we can't wait to have you back. Everyone have the best weekend you can.
Thank you.
Thanks, Desiree.